Okay, it's rolling.
And Bill, the job that I was like most excited on having with us. If you want to sit here,
That's okay. We can just sit right here.
Wherever you want. I just wanted to offer if you needed to seat, you can sit.
Well,
Well, no, that's
we're going to go past you.
I wanted to offer if you guys want to.
Third seat.
I'll get out of the way. My mom's coming. Just a moment. Can I get out? Thank you. Because my mom's coming. I know you guys are going to buy.
Thank you.
All the best. You'll let me. Thank you. You gotta be a good gentleman like we are.
Great. Thank you.
And actually, look at them. Well, guess what? We went
They were already you were doing the ice stuff.
I'm just saying, all the best to you always. And of course, I would have to look for your life and medicine here. And my mom's visiting. So to see that miracle, I'm saying all the best to you. Thank you for your kindness.
Your mic's not on.
My mic's not on, or I'm just not close enough. Is that better?
It's getting better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, this needs to be turned up. Quite sure if he's doing. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Just give me the mic. So I'm Heidi, Machiavelli Wins. I'm not a Dartmouth alum like most people around here, but I'm the spouse of the Dartmouth alum, so it feels a lot like coming to here. And Fred actually overlapped a little bit with my husband, so we didn't spend much time talking in college, but we realized this morning that we had to turn out a little bit. So I'm just gonna open up a conversation here. This is Fred O'Shea, and he's here to talk to us about faith and global health. He has an incredible background, and I will let him tell you a little bit more about. But currently, he's a pediatrics resident at Vanderbilt University. He grew up in Kenya and has spent a lot of time thinking about issues of global health, but really on a practical level. How do you walk these things out in a community? Really has burned me caught by fire and all of that. So I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions here, I think, for maybe 20, 25 minutes, and I'm gonna let you guys ask questions because I think that's probably what you can kind of do. So, it's still being here. I can't imagine how you got here. You're so busy, but we're grateful to be here. So, why don't you start just by telling us a little bit about Luala and about the community over there?
Sure. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Jambo.
The Swahili word, Swahili is the national language in Kenya, So the Swahili word for hello, and if I'm saying hello to one person, it's going to be a little different. But since it's you all, as we say down south in Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm doing my training right now, since I'm saying hello to y'all, instead of saying jambo, which will just be hello, jambo would be kind of like hello to all of you. And then you would greet me back saying hatu jambo. So let's give this a try. Jambo. Asante. I guess some of you who watched The Lion King, as your source of Swahili lessons, asante actually means thank you. So yeah, they throw in a few Swahili words, which is kind of cool. So yeah, originally I'm from a small village in rural Western Kenya, and I'm the third born in a family of 6 kids. My brother Milton was actually, he also went to Dartmouth. He finished in 2004, and I finished in 2005. So the college has changed a lot, but it's always nice to come back home and see where we were doing our training not too long ago, although 10 years ago is kind of a while. So how did we get here? So like I said, grew up in a small village in rural Western Kenya, and we grew up in this village where there was no running water, no electricity, and it's kind of interesting to see how the Lord opened up our paths, and that we ended up here at Dartmouth College. Both of my parents were teachers. My mother taught in elementary school, and then my dad was a chemistry and a biology teacher. So they really valued education. And back at home, it would be that when you finished primary school, then depending on how you did in your 8th grade, you qualify for some of the top national schools that picks up students from each of the top schools throughout the country. And if you did not so well, then you go to the provincial schools and district schools, all that. So, my parents made sure that Milton and I went to some of the best boarding schools, and that really prepared us well for high school. So we went to Alliance High School, which is outside of Nairobi. And growing in Luwala, it's about 6 miles down an unpaved road to get public transportation. And then from there on, you travel another 8 hours or so to get to Nairobi. So, we were in boarding school. This was one of the best schools, the oldest high school in Kenya. And my parents had to sacrifice a lot, took loans to be able to keep us in school. And, once we finished high school, back in Kenya, depending on how well you do in your sciences, if you're interested in medicine, that will determine whether you're able to go to the public schools of medicine. And, one of the other things I didn't mention was that growing up in this small village in Western Kenya, we had no health care. So we remember growing up, I would catch malaria, and back then people were still taking chloroquine. Chloroquine was a medication of choice for treating malaria. And for some of you who may have heard of chloroquine, it's one of the most bitter medications you'd ever swallow. And so, when you catch malaria, you start having fevers and chills, and you get nausea, you start vomiting, some people have diarrhea. So you are not starting kind of in a good place in terms of your GI system. And so when you swallow this pill, the moment it hits the back of your throat, you start throwing up. And we knew what that meant, because Dad would say, it's now time to sterilize the the syringes and the needles, they start to get an injection. So you get a chloroquine injection for the malaria. And again, Dad was a high school teacher. Grandpa was a vet. So up to now, we haven't really figured out how Dad knew how to administer injections. But anyway, we would get sick, catch malaria, and if you didn't swallow the pills, it was time to get the chloroquine shot. So we all dreaded time for chloroquine shots. But you know, this is how we grew up, knowing that for most of the people who got sick, the same shop where you bought your sugar, your bread, that's also where you buy your medications. And you know, in the place where I'm from, the same word for headache is kind of the same word for malaria. So there are many people who have this headache, and you know, they are not really sure if they have malaria or if they have a flu or if they have something else. So people take painkillers, and you know, hopefully this working.
Yes.
I don't know what we're doing wrong. But anyway, so you know, it's the same show.